with you, why Cellercise? I mean, compared to every other exercise out there, if you look at all of exercise, it's all based upon the same principles. It's the application of weight or stress on a certain part or function of the body over and over until it adapts by becoming stronger. And if it's typical exercise like weightlifting, nothing wrong with it. It's a sport. We're the only species in the world that does it. You're never going to see a dog, cat, monkey, or any other species out there pumping iron weights or doing a lot of these insane programs. And yet they're very strong, they're agile, they're flexible, their muscles are healthy. When you tear down to build up, they say do it every other day because the body literally has to heal itself. Nothing wrong with it. It's a sport though. That's what it is. You'll get strong muscles, but you can compromise the flexibility, timing, speed, coordination, and you can damage ligaments and tendons. I know I work with bodybuilders years later, and in our attempt to help promote more flexibility, strength, and circulation. But again, it's a sport. A lot of us don't have time for that sport, and we think we have to go out and do that to be strong and healthy. That's not true. When you lift weight away from gravity, you limit the effect to the muscle doing the lifting. But when you increase the weight of gravity, it's not on this muscle. It's on every muscle, every single cell membrane in your entire body over 100 times a minute. Cells don't care where the weight comes from. You apply weight to that cell membrane over and over, that cell is going to fortify its membrane to compensate for the weight because it doesn't want to rupture. But that's every muscle, bone, connective tissue, ligament, tendon, skin, collagen, fascia, over 100 times a minute. Do you see the difference? You can spend hours lifting weight away from gravity, working in all these different areas of the body, or you can Cellercise and apply that increase of weight against the cell membrane over 100 times a minute, all at the same time. That makes it extremely efficient. So it works as an isometric for toning. But this doesn't just tone from the outside in. This literally tones from the inside out. When muscles get weak, they sag. When internal organs get weak, they drop. When you move up and down on a Cellerciser, the internal organs move up and down, the connective tissue surrounding them firms up. That's one of the reasons boxers do a lot of jump roping. And so, because they don't want to get hit in the head with a loose brain that causes a knockout. So moving up and down is working from the inside out. Isometric is caused by altering the angle of our body in different positions where we create leverage, which you can't do on a treadmill or normally. But if I want to target this whole front part of the body here, if I'm jogging, which is great, you can jog, lift your knees up, it works the core. But when you tilt slightly, now every time I come down, this whole part of the body is tight the whole time. The whole time I'm running, I'm leveraging my own body weight. You not only become stronger in an altered position, you're focusing on the whole front part of the body, but the rest of the body is still involved. That's an isometric that works the whole body. And we have other movements that we teach on the Mr. Rebounder app and through Cellercise. Yes, Justice?
Sylvia says, Dave, can you make a routine for pushing shoulders back to straighten posture and increase muscle strength?
Yeah. Can you make a note of that? Let's do that.
I'll send it.
Thank you. That's a good idea. Yeah, absolutely. That should be in our routine. Oh, good. So we're going to add the movement for posture into the Mr. Rebounder app. That's good. Okay, so isometric for toning. And you can do a lot. So we're going to do isotonic for building in just a moment. But the isometric, let's say I want to work the back and the buttocks. You can build them up, but the moment you tilt forward, you take all the muscles in the back, they're now having to hold you up. And as you jump up and down at that angle, all those muscles are automatically resisting falling over. But you're also adding an increase of weight, and that's what we call the isotonic. The isotonics is weight bearing. That's how we build up muscle. You apply more weight to the cell membrane. The cell responds by fortifying its membrane with more protein. You do not have to tear it down to build it up. In fact, when you tear it down, you tear the cell membrane, the body has to repair the tear. How does it do it? It patches the tear with a protein patch. Then you tear the patch, and it patches the patch. You tear that patch, it patches that patch, and so on and so forth until you build these bigger muscles. again, it's not natural. It's a manipulation of the body. Nothing wrong with it. We have bodybuilders who've won national championships incorporating Cellercise with their bodybuilding program. You can see one of the testimonials on our video, Cellercise, the ultimate exercise. Wade Lightheart, now was known as Wade McNutt when he was competing, won 3 championships, 3 competitions, incorporating Cellercise with his weight training. Because as we learned from Dr. Larry Getman, who did a research years ago, if you incorporate 30 seconds of Cellercise between a weight training circuit program, you could grow up to 26% faster in your results. So I'm not against it. It's a sport. But for most of us, we don't have time for that. And we still want to be strong and healthy. I don't lift any weights. I do my Cellercising. I've been doing it for over 30 years. It's all I get. And I'm so grateful for the kind of strength that it gives you, as many of you know. Okay, so isometric, isotonic, an increase of weight on different areas of the body, but that's, again, it's muscles, bones. How do you build up osteoblastic activity? How do we build up a bone? We put weight on the skeletal system. As we put weight on the skeletal system, it gets stronger. So that's all weight bearing. Isometric, isotonic, calisthenic. We can target certain areas of the body by creating leverage. And so if we are working on underneath the chin, and we're working the whole front part of the area, again, if we are kicking our legs out, these are more advanced movements, but as we're kicking our legs out, we are leveraging a lot more weight coming down with our leg up rather than just lifting our weight away from gravity. And the whole body is still involved. If we want to work on the waist and the hips, we can hold on to the bar, kick our legs out side to side. We're focusing now on the hips, but every other body part is also engaged. That's unique. If you want to strengthen the lower back and the buttocks, rather than just focus on the buttocks and the lower back, with Cellercise, we can lean forward, hold on to the bar, and kick our legs out behind us. The moment I tilt, all these muscles are now holding me up from falling over, and every time I come down, I'm putting a lot more weight here, resisting the weight, than just lifting my weight away from gravity. I'm coming down with a lot more weight there, and it's leveraged weight. It's focused on that area. If you want to build up the muscles in the arms, do your resistance movements while you're moving up and down. It's an isometric, but it's also an isotonic. So you got an isometric for toning, isotonic for building, calisthenic for targeting, doing different movements, aerobic for conditioning. You have 75 trillion cells flexing over 100 times a minute without jarring impact, which can be damaging. So the whole thing is aerobic and conditioning the whole time you're using it. But it's also flexibility. Because as you move up and down, you're taking every single cell membrane and you're gently expanding and contracting. You're increasing the flexibility of the cell while you're also increasing the strength of that cell membrane. And so as you move up and down, if you try to touch your toes before you get on a Cellerciser, and then when you're done Cellercising, kind of bend over and touch your toes again, you can see that you increasing your flexibility. I tell trainers, I tell athletes, when you go out and get ready for a competition, honestly, and you'll see it in the Olympics eventually, because there's nothing like it. When you move up and down, you're warming up the tissue. You're increasing the flexibility at the cellular level throughout the entire body. At the same time, you're increasing strength. So you've got isometric for toning, isotonic for building, calisthenic for targeting, aerobic for conditioning, and flexibility program, all in a 10-minute-a-day routine. 10 minutes a day. People say, nah, you can't do 10 minutes a day. I say, okay, I've done it for over 30 years, but if you take and you applied 20, 30, or 40% more weight 100 times a minute right here on that muscle by lifting weight away from gravity over and over. 100 times a minute for 10 solid minutes, great exercise of that muscle. Now you got to do this one. Who's got time to do all these muscles? With Cellercise, that's what you're doing. You're increasing the weight on the cell membrane over 100 times a minute. That's what makes it so effective, so efficient. And you know, and the